We are live in our studios on Caraba Avenue. You're watching QTV Nightly News, and I am Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. At the ongoing ECOWAS parliamentary session, it was the turn of the Gambia to present its country report highlighting progress and challenges. For the second year in a row, the Banjul International Trade Fair currently on the way at the GCCI Trade Fair grounds in Bijilo features a stall with products by inmates of the Mile 2 prison. Tobacco control laws are being enforced with a crackdown on tobacco product sellers who fail to comply with new regulations on display and packaging introduced in March of this year. Family members of Gambian World War II veterans gathered on Saturday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And the Gambia Prison Services has formally decorated 68 prison officers who have been promoted to various ranks within the service. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. Many thanks for joining us, now the news in detail. The Gambian delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament presented its country situational report to the Community Parliament's ongoing 2025 First Ordinary Session in Abuja today, highlighting significant progress and ongoing challenges in the areas of democracy, human rights, environmental resilience, and regional integration. The report was delivered on behalf of the 5-member delegation by Honorable Alaji S. Dabo. Alusise tells us more.
Members of the Gambia's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament are Bilaji Tunkara, Alaji S. Dabo, Maimuna Sise, Amadou Kamara, and Serif Sar. Since the transition in 2017, the delegation reported that the Gambia has seen a surge in political participation, with the number of registered political parties rising from 9 to nearly 20.
This increase reflects a more pluralistic political landscape and a broader representation of the diverse political ideologies. The Constitution of the Gambia guarantees the right of all citizens aged 18 and above to participate in the political process, ensuring inclusive democracy. This constitutional provision extends to women and youth, promoting their active engagement in elections, governance, and decision-making.
On strengthening governance, the report informed community parliamentarians that the Gambia government has operationalized institutions like Access to Information Commission and is pushing for the revival of a new draft constitution and establishment of the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Although the rejection of the draft constitution in 2020 was a setback to critical government reforms, the government remains committed to reviewing the process. Efforts are currently on the way to reintroduce the draft constitution at the National Assembly during its forthcoming second ordinary session in June, reflecting renewed push for comprehensive constitutional and institutional reforms.
On the media landscape, the report stated that the country has witnessed the expansion of media houses while noting a decline in arbitrary arrest with greater respect for freedom of speech. Regarding energy, the delegation reported that electricity access is increasing, with the national rate reaching 74%.
On access to justice, Honorable Speaker, despite ongoing challenges such as limited legal aid services and infrastructural constraints within the court system, the Gambia has made significant strides in strengthening access to justice through comprehensive judicial reforms. In the wake of the country's democratic transition, the judiciary has been central focus of international transformation aimed at enhancing the independence, accountability, and public trust.
Although the report did not highlight recent protests against the sale of former President Jammeh's assets, Sierra Leone Representative Abdul Kagbo raised the issue during his intervention.
They protested basically because they thought the assets were sold below the market value.
However, the the Gambia's delegation clarified that there was no intention to omit the development, explaining that the protest occurred after the draft report had already been submitted to the ECOWAS Parliament Secretariat. They informed their colleagues that a parliamentary inquiry into the matter is currently ongoing. In addition to the Gambia's submission, the Parliament also received and considered control reports of Sierra Leone and Nigeria. All reports were subsequently adopted. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
For the second year in a row, inmates at the Mile 2 prison, with the support of Jollof Care Center, are participating in the Banjul International Trade Fair, currently on the way at the GCCI Trade Fair grounds in Bijilo. QTV's Ansumana Isonyasi visited their stall and tells us how they've been faring at this year's edition.
Their participation in the GCCI International Trade Fair for the second year running is a significant step in promoting rehabilitation through economic empowerment. It also not only showcases the creative talents of female inmates, but also highlights the potential of restorative justice programs in transforming lives and strengthening communities. Here at their stall, products that could easily be mistaken for European-made or professionally crafted items are on display. These are the handiwork of women currently serving sentences at Gambia State Central Prison, commonly known as Mile 2. Supported by Jollof Care Center, the initiative provides the inmates with a rare opportunity to contribute to their own welfare and support their families, even while behind bars. Aissatou Jallow, founder of Jollof Care Center, says the program is part of a broader effort to equip the women with practical skills and foster their reintegration into society upon release.
As usual, 100% capital is from Jollof Care Center. We bought the beads for them, all the materials that they need, that they needed, and then we gave it to them. And then, well, they are super creative. And, well, their teacher also did a very good job, Fatou Njai, and she is a prison officer. She did a very good job by training them the basic. For those who came to our stalls last year and this year, you will see the difference. Like we have the bags are different, and everything is different. The tissue boxes, everything, even designs, everything is different.
While her foundation, in collaboration with the prison authorities and the Ministry of Trade, has been providing essential resources to women at the Mile 2 prison, Jallow stresses the importance of community involvement. She calls on the public to support incarcerated individuals, particularly their families and loved ones, as part of a broader effort to aid rehabilitation and reintegration.
We have some inmates who are now released. They are enrolled in the institution who trained them to do the tie and dye. That's Bakote Production. That's Bakote Production Innovation Center. So they are the ones who saw the shirts that were sold. Maybe you've seen the male shirts. Like we're having plenty, but everything has been sold. Only one is left, and of course the woven ones.
Meanwhile, she says this year's edition has been a success for the inmates as most of their products sold out. And as she shared plans to support the prison with a bakery and more skills and psychosocial programs for both inmates and prison officers, she again calls on the public to support ongoing rehabilitation programs.
You do 1-2 bags, you have maybe $10 to $20. You make 10 bags, 20 bags, you get maybe $1,000, for example. So, that will push them. They would, instead of them sitting and chatting, everybody, even if they're chatting, they are discussing about the bags, the design, the beads that they're going to use, how they're going to do it. That's what you don't even see them talk. So I think that's something really important on their mental health.
The participation of inmates at the trade fair reflects the current administration's commitment to prison reform, and not only represents a major accomplishment for the women of Mile 2 prison, but also underscores the government's push for meaningful changes within the correctional system with support of partners such as Jollof Care Center. Ansumana Isonyasi for QTV News.
As part of ongoing efforts to curb tobacco use in the Gambia, the Ministry of Health, through its Non-Communicable Disease Control Unit, continued enforcement of the Tobacco Control and Regulation Act on Friday. Our Bob joined the enforcement team and filed this report.
The operation was carried out in collaboration with the Gambia Police Force, the Gambia Revenue Authority, and the National Environment Agency, reinforcing the government's commitment to public health and tobacco control. In a joint operation on Friday with the Gambia Police Force, Gambia Revenue Authority, and National Environment Agency teams conducted inspections across commercial areas in Kololi and Kotu. The operation targeted violations such as public smoking, illegal advertising, and the sale of unregulated tobacco products. This ongoing campaign underscores the government's firm commitment to reducing tobacco-related harm and holding violators accountable. Speaking to journalists after the operation, Omar Conte, Advocacy and Communication Officer of the African Network for Information and Action Against Drugs, RAID the Gambia, highlighted the importance of such enforcement exercises. He emphasized that these measures are crucial in reducing tobacco consumption and protecting public health through consistent law enforcement and awareness.
The Gambia enacted the Tobacco Control Act in 2016, and part of the provisions on the act is to do with the graphic health warning. That is the images that we see circulated on the packets that are in the market. In 2021, the Gambia implemented the graphic health warning, and it is a law that every 2 years, these pictures has to be changed concurrently. And the ones that are in circulation, the one that is having a baby, it has expired. So it means that from March this year, any packet that you see in circulation should have a smoker's body. That is 2 pictures, one in front and one at the back. According to the Tobacco Control Act, any tobacco packet that has to be entered into the country should have a prescribed health warning, that is the graphic health warning, and it should be sold in the Gambia. But we understand that most of the supermarkets, the product that they are selling, the electronic cigarette, they do not have any graphic health warning on them. They do not also have sold in the Gambia, which means it entered into the country illegally.
Our Sanyang, Program Officer at the Ministry of Health's Non-Communicable Disease Control Unit, reiterated the government's dedication to upholding tobacco control laws. She stressed that public cooperation and sustained enforcement are key to minimizing the health risks associated with tobacco use.
Tobacco Control Act 2016, as we all know, tobacco is a legal product, but again, it's lethal. So as a country, we cannot ban the importation of tobacco, but we have come out with a law to regulate the way tobacco is being sold and the way it should be consumed into the country.
Control laws serve as a national legal framework to protect public health by regulating tobacco use, preventing exposure to harmful substances, and promoting a smoke-free environment. For QTV News, I am Our Bob.
From that story by Al Bob, we will now take a short commercial break, but when we return, we hear from the families of Gambian veterans who commemorated the end of World War II. We also hear from recent promotions within the Gambia Prison Service. Do stay tuned for these and other stories. Welcome back. Be reminded you are watching QTV News and I am Jacqueline Colley. Now, in a solemn ceremony at McCarthy Square in Banjul, the World War II Veterans Family Association gathered on Saturday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The event honors the bravery and sacrifice of their forefathers at the global warfare. Usman Jata tells us more.
On May 8, 1945, Germany unconditionally surrendered to Allied forces, bringing an end to World War II in Europe. A day known as Victory in Europe Day, or VE Day. Celebrations erupted worldwide, commemorating the end of one of history's deadliest wars. This commemoration by World War II Veterans Family Association pays tribute to the courage and gallantry of Gambian soldiers who put their lives on the line to restore global peace. Pama Sow Job is the Secretary General of the World War II Veterans Family Association.
We must never forget the millions of men and women who fought for freedom and peace. We must honor their memory by ensuring that their sacrifices are not forgotten, and by working together to create a more just and peaceful world.
According to historian Hassum Sise, over 4,000 Gambians were mobilized by the British to fight in the Second World War. 3,750 served in the British Army and 600 were in the Air Force. Hassum Sise, who is also the Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, gave a detailed history of Gambian soldiers in the global war.
The British had to remove the Japanese from Burma so as to be able to, sort of liberate, Southeast Asia from Japanese control. Now, to do this, the British had to depend on the, bravery of the Gambian soldiers.
Yeah. Beyond the battlefield, returning veterans brought back valuable skills and experiences that contributed to post-war development in the Gambia. Honorable Fali M. Kora, the National Assembly member for Tumanna and a member of the association, acknowledged the concerns raised and pledged the Assembly's continued support for their cause.
The sons and daughters and the widows of these veterans deem it fitting for them to come together and form an association so that they can stand for the widows and the daughters and the family members of the veteran families.
The event's theme, The Forgotten Soldiers and Widows, reflects the ongoing struggles faced by veterans' families, many of whom remain overlooked. Alpha Jallo raised concerns over an alleged lack of transparency in the disbursement of funds reportedly allocated by the British government for veterans' families.
The World War II Veterans Family Association has discovered that those who are charged with running the affairs of the Gambia Legion and to manage the funds have woefully failed in reaching out to the eligible beneficiaries as highlighted by the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Service League.
As the World War II Veterans Family Association observed this historic milestone, they reiterate the need to remember and support families whose forefathers fought bravely and to ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten by future generations. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
In a milestone for the country's correctional system, the Gambia Prison Services on Friday at the GPS headquarters formally decorated 68 prison officers who have been promoted to various ranks within the service. The ceremony honored the officers' unwavering commitment to justice, security, and rehabilitation, the core values that underpin the nation's correctional framework. Yafal Tugay tells us more.
The promotions, covering a wide range of ranks within the service, are testament of the officers' commitment, professionalism, and role in enhancing security and advancing reforms in the nation's correctional facilities. The ceremony was attended by officials from the Gambia Prison Services, representatives from the Ministry of Interior and other security bodies, who gathered to commend the officers. Numerous corporals and sergeants were acknowledged along with several principal and senior principal officers. Experienced personnel from senior ranks were also elevated to strategic leadership positions, including Deputy Superintendent of Prisons and other deputy roles. The Director General of the Gambia Prison Services, Ansumana Mane, commended the officers for their hard work and discipline, emphasizing the importance of promotion and advancing the country's justice system.
The promotion of prison officers in the Gambia is a cornerstone of Gambia Prison Services strategy to build a professional, efficient, and accountable correctional system. These promotions serve not only as recognition of individual dedication and performance, but also as a critical mechanism for fostering leadership, enhancing institutional capacity, and aligning with both national and international standards of correctional practices.
The Director General also urged the newly promoted officers to view their newly ranks as a call to greater responsibilities, particularly in prisoner rehabilitation, human rights protection, and institutional reform.
Let this ceremony inspire all of us to strive for excellence in our respective roles, fostering an environment of respect, professionalism, and continuous growth within the Gambia Prison Services.
Yusufa Jabang, a decorated officer, gave the vote of thanks on behalf of the promoted officers.
My colleagues, this is the promise we took to keep and rectify people for our nation so that they can fit in the society after release and to live a well-sustaining life. My advice is that let us be truthful to ourselves and do what is entrusted to us. Let us not disappoint our leaders. Let us not disappoint ourselves, and let us not disappoint our nation.
The event concluded with a reaffirmation of GPS's commitment to building a professional, effective, and reform-oriented correctional service that meets both national and international standards. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafati Gay.
On Thursday, the Yunus Emri Institute Turkish Cultural Center, together with the Gambia's Natural Center for Arts and Culture, NCAC, held an introductory meeting with Gambian artists. The goal of the initiative is to engage in cultural dialogue and explore potential artistic partnerships between artists of the two nations. Mam Nabukal was there, and this is our report.
The event brought together a diverse group of local artists, cultural enthusiasts, representatives of art performance organizations, and members of the center, all eager to discuss the intersection of Gambian and Turkish culture and art. Through this meeting, the Yunus Emre Institute Cultural Center, which has started its activities in the Gambia in March of 2025 by offering Turkish language courses and holding cultural events, intends to elaborately explain what their functions are to the Gambian artists present and exchange ideas with them on how the institute can assist them to enhance their visibility in their respective areas of art and performance. Here is Fahri Torka Oba, the Turkish ambassador to the Gambia, eager about this initiative and what it could build.
You have a great culture, you have great arts, but we see that it's not enough visible. So what the Gambians need, what are the big challenges, you will tell us. Of course, we don't have a magical stick. We cannot just change like that, but I am sure that with the support of the government and of the Yunus Emre Institute, we can achieve in some positive things to cast the Gambian culture at a different level.
During the meeting, participants held brief discussions about their respective artistic disciplines, sharing insights into their cultural backgrounds, creative processes, and some of the challenges they face. They also proposed art exhibitions, cultural programs and exchanges, as well as competitions to discover young talent as avenues that can be taken to advance Gambia's culture and art landscape. Franklin Chika Adim, the Vice President of the Film Producers Association of the Gambia, sees the Turkish Cultural Center's initiative as an incredible opportunity.
The onus will fall on the National Center for Arts and Culture to put together the creative stakeholders to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. It's not a hush-rush event activity, but I think as many of us that really appreciate what's going on here today, we want to key into their vision, and hopefully we'll start seeing results very soon.
Hasum Sise, Gambian historian and the director of the National Center for Arts and Culture, played an integral role in ensuring that this event came to fruition.
I want to call on all the artists here present and those who cannot be here to embrace the Yunus Imre Turkish Cultural Center, okay? In open arms, and then to use the center to facilitate dialogue, cultural understanding, a cultural exchange, so that there will be a win-win situation for Gambian arts and culture, and also for the aims and aspirations of the Yunus Imre Turkish Cultural Center.
The Yunus Emre Institute Turkish Cultural Center looks forward to collaborating on future initiatives with Gambian artists. By facilitating these interactions, the center intends to strengthen cultural ties between Turkey and the Gambia, fostering mutual respect and understanding through the universal language of art. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
That story by Mamna Buka brings us to the end of this bulletin, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. At the ongoing ECOWAS parliamentary session, it was the turn of the Gambia to present its country report highlighting progress and challenges. For the second year in a row, the Banjul International Trade Fair, currently underway at the GCCI Trade Fair grounds in Bijilo, features a stall with products by inmates of the Mile 2 prison. Tobacco control laws are being enforced with a crackdown on tobacco product sellers who fail to comply with the new regulations on display and packaging introduced in March of this year. Family members of Gambian World War II veterans gathered on Saturday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And finally, the Gambia Prison Services has formally decorated 68 prison officers who have been promoted to various ranks within the service. That's all for now in this bulletin. To join us tomorrow for the Week in Review with Mr. Ade Darame and Mamadou Mboj. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.